Welcome to the long distance virtual edition of Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah, and I'm pleased to be joined by a young Ghanaian author by the name Nana Ejewa, speaking to us from Belgium, correct?
That's right.
What's the name? What town in Belgium or what city in Belgium are you speaking from?
I am speaking from Belgium, Ghent, to be precise.
Ghent, to be precise.
Yes.
Okay, very good. And your full name is?
Nanejiwa Osei. So
Nanejewa Osei.
yeah.
Well, my mother's name is Ajewa, so
Okay.
that's not really this thing. So tell us about yourself. Welcome.
Thank you very much. So practically, I am 21 years old. In my educational career, I am a student. I graduated in office management and communication, but right now I am a student in my last year and I'm studying human resources management. But aside that, I also am very fond of writing. And I'm a freelance writer for organizations, but also towards myself. And aside that, I'm also a slam poet. I'm also a chorister, so I do a bit of everything.
So your fingers never rest. You're constantly typing on your laptop or your
That's right.
phones or your
Yeah.
tablets, right? Where did you
Yes.
grow up?
I was born in Ghana, actually, Kumasi, but I came to Belgium when I was 3, 4 years old. So
Yeah.
my life has been majorly in Belgium.
Okay. If you came to Belgium when you were 3 or 4, did you get to speak the tree very well before you left?
The tree is thanks to my parents. If it wasn't for them, I don't think I would speak. I would be speaking the native language today.
Oh, really? And
Yeah.
so, okay, so you speak it now very well?
Yes, I don't understand like everything, but I do understand the basics.
You understand the proverbs?
Yeah, not everyone, but
Give
a
me, give
few.
me, give me one tree proverb that you know.
Um, which one would that be? Um, okay, maybe this one. I don't know if it's a proverb, but it's one I heard while I was growing up.
Mhm.
My mom said, "Mpanyinfo kasa memfa wanuntum," meaning if you recognize elderly ones having their meetings, you should not be haughty to jump in
Okay.
because they are speaking from a level of knowledge that I as a child might not have experienced yet.
How does that make you
So that's
feel?
my thought. In the beginning, because I am someone who likes asking questions, doing my research, I was like, what's behind it? But while I was growing up, I tend to realize that it is true. A lot of times children are let me say they are rushing and we want to know things, but sometimes it's not everything that you are supposed to know from an immediate age. You tend to have patience and you learn to understand why adults do things a certain way.
Let's explore that for a minute because I'm the opposite side with you on this. And it's interesting that you're the younger one who's supposed to not agree with it, but you agree with it. And I'm the older one who's supposed to agree with it, but I don't quite
You're not
agree with it.
agreeing with it.
So why
Okay.
don't we banter for about a couple of minutes? I
Sure.
believe that that rule
Hmm.
inhibits curiosity and creativity, which are key features of learning at an early age.
Hmm.
What says you?
I understand your
Mhm.
perspective,
Mhm.
but I also tend to understand that it's not everything because sometimes as a child we may think we know it all,
Mhm.
but there are way more reasons, way more other things behind the scene that we do not see yet.
Mhm.
So we do have to be, I believe we have to be patient whilst exploring our grounds.
Okay. So here's another point where I agree with it. The rule is a blanket rule. When adults are talking, don't jump in. Okay. It didn't say when adults are talking about certain things. It says when adults are talking. But you're a child, you're in the house, adults are talking. It could be something that's of very major concern to you. Why
Yeah.
shouldn't you have the right to ask questions?
I think in the African diaspora, traditional ways, that is indeed how things are seen. But Ali, also growing up, I've tend to realize that when you are listening. So after their meeting, however, I do ask my questions, but sometimes you cannot jump in like that. It is impolite. So then I always held my questions for after their meetings.
Okay, so lastly, my point is what's good for the good is good for the gander. If adults are talking and you're a child, you cannot jump in. Then when you and your friends are talking about social media stuff that doesn't concern them, they should not have the right to jump in either. But they do.
Mm-mm,
Why is it that they
mm-mm.
can but you can't?
Um, well, I would say the latter, let me say, when we are talking about social media, there are definitely not much things that our parents haven't experienced yet, but we can still teach them new things even though we are young.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you have your friends and stuff. Before we,
Yeah.
okay, I'll tell you what, we're gonna get to the friends later. But let's
Sorry.
talk about if you left when you were 3 and 4, you really don't remember much about Ghana, do you?
Mm. Not at
Okay.
all. But we did go back in 2019, which was
Okay.
the first time for me after all those years.
Okay.
So I did tend, not really memories, but I did get to see my family and, certain things about myself.
Is it intentional that you speak English so clearly for someone who lives in a non-English speaking country?
Um, Normally it is not. A lot of people have told me, have asked their questions about me, but I did do my, as I said, from a very young age, I have been reading a lot of books, also watching movies, and that's how I learned my English by watching American movies.
Ah, so it's the
Yeah,
movies. What's
yeah.
your favorite American movie?
um, oh, I watch so many movies, so I can't really pick one now.
Okay, so what's your
But
genre?
mhm,
What genre appeals to you?
mm, the
Drama,
type of
sci-fi,
action movies,
action movie.
drama, drama, but also educational ones, which who
Educational.
are bringing a message forward, um, like documentaries,
Okay.
etc. And yeah, a bit
All
in that
right.
genre.
What's it like growing up in Belgium when you started noticing things? Or shall I say, do you remember your first experience being uprooted from Ghana to Belgium, completely different
Uh,
environment? Do you remember anything?
yeah, definitely. It was a totally different environment, and also the way you are approached, the way you're learning things. One thing I can definitely say is you have to figure a lot out by yourself. If you're not reaching out for help, it is definitely like you're gonna have the feeling that you're doing a lot by yourself, because everybody is really focused on themselves, especially in Belgium. You're focusing on your growth, your family, getting your things right. So nobody is really going to notice you except if that is their purpose in life. Let me say. So because like for example in Ghana you would be like the way we receive people, but in Belgium, that would be figuring things out by yourself, being with your family, make sure your path is right. And there are so many ways for you to pick in, which I actually think it is a very good thing, because you get to come here with opportunities. But of course, you need to seek for the right kind of opportunities. You need to do your research, acquire knowledge, and I believe all those elements will form you into the right path for you.
Have
Yeah.
you been told before that you probably sound older than your age?
Every single time.
Every single time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, how does that make you feel? Do you like it, or do you think, oh no, I'm not that old yet?
Mhm. In the beginning, I thought it was weird. But growing up, I got to understand that this is the way God has made me. So I take it as a compliment, actually. Yeah.
And your friends also see you, your age mates see you like that as well?
Um, Here's the thing. The way I have I'm surrounded with my friends. I don't really call them friends. It's like we either are we have the same goal aligned, we're working on something together. That is when I can call you my friend. Or to me it's either partnership or we're family. So I don't really do the
So you
friend
don't
thing.
do social friendships?
I definitely have friends, but we are always working on something together. Like it's always with a purpose. Yeah.
Wait, you're 21. You should have, at your age, when I was your age,
Yeah.
projects were the last thing on my, I just wanted to hang out and have fun.
Mhm.
Why are you different?
I don't know. From a very young age, I found these things boring.
Wait, you found social life boring.
Yeah, I found it boring
Uh-huh.
to come together, but you're absolutely working on nothing. Like there is no goal aligned within
You're having
there's no
fun.
yeah.
You're hanging out.
It was boring to me.
Okay, now that begs the obvious question.
Yeah.
Who is he and what's his name?
Sorry.
You know what I mean? Who is he and what's his name?
Oh, I am still single.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're still single.
Yes,
All
please.
right. Is it because the guys found you may find them boring, but do they also find you boring, you think?
Well, guys definitely approach, but I am someone, and I thank God that I am. I am someone who I want to put myself in the center always to see where God is leading me. And if you're beneficial onto my life or not. And I want to like I put myself in the center and I see with what I am trying to achieve, is this person going to be beneficial onto my path or not? And
Okay.
also the a lot of guys, especially of my generation, the age I am at right now, the majority is not looking for anything serious. But it's also I want to push myself forward first
Okay.
before I can let these things in.
That's very admirable. And I have to ask, where did you get all that from? Did you
Life
get, is it from your
experiences.
upbringing? Are your parents that strict or what?
They're definitely like been strict with growing up, but they always explain their point of perspective. And it's also the way I started seeing myself and also seeing life. So your parents can even raise you up very strictly, but if you have a different perspective on life, you will turn away from that whilst you're growing up. But with me, it tends to make sense because as I'm walking with my generation, with my people, let me say, I tend to notice that often it is true, and that especially with my generation, you need to put yourself first and see how far you can go. And I feel like all the rest will come.
Okay.
There's no need
All
to
right.
rush.
So parents, African parents in Belgium, how are they? I know they, one thing we African
Mhm.
parents are good at, and my kids tell me all the time, we specialize in embarrassing you. our children in the diaspora. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Huh?
I would definitely not call it embarrassment.
Mhm.
Sorry, the connection is on. Can you hear me, please?
I hear you now. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I would not call it I would not call it embarrassment,
Mhm.
but it's just the
Don't
way
worry.
our
We're not.
parents.
Don't worry. We're not going to
Yeah.
show the video to your parents, so you can.
No problem. No problem. No, in general, I see it as they had a total different perspective growing up, but with the fact that they even brought us here, raising us up according to how they were raised up. But we growing up in, for example, me growing up in Belgium, they also get to understand that a lot of things are different here. Definitely, they try growing roaming me up to how they were raised, but I am also the type of person saying, if I strongly believe in something, I do want to go for it. And I believe like at some point we come to an alignment. They understand my
Yeah, but
perspective.
wait a minute. Wait
And
a minute. You have Ghanaian friends your age, correct?
yeah,
Or other African friends your age, right?
yes.
Is your circle of friends only Ghanaians or other Africans or
Mhm.
Belgians? Yes.
Um,
Mhm.
it's a mixed
It's a mix.
culture.
So
Yes.
do you want to? So do you want to tell
Mhm.
me? Do you want to tell me that you and your African friends don't tease your parents? That would be unusual.
We definitely tease them.
Uh-huh.
Even me and my sister tease
Uh-huh.
them, my parents a lot,
Uh-huh.
but they also laugh it away.
What do you tease them
Yeah.
about?
Um, so sometimes the accent and
The accent, right?
yeah,
Okay.
or sometimes they may say something but they don't really they meant something else with it.
Mhm.
And my sister and I just tease them and my mom notices. So then yeah, she'll have put us in
Okay.
our place.
All right. Let's talk about your book,
Mhm.
The Journey, this journey of life. Did
Yeah.
I get it right?
This journey is called life.
This journey is called life. So, what
Yes.
journey are we talking about that you call life? Maybe I'll call it something different. What journey are we talking
uh,
about?
this journey is called life to me means the the different steps we are taking to becoming ourselves, to find our identity, to like see what adds value into our lives, but
Mhm.
also to it's like a journey that never ends until the day we leave this earth, a journey of which is full of discovering yourself, um also finding that higher power, the higher purpose, and the realistic aspect about it, but it's also a journey of faith. Yeah.
Okay. What inspired it? What inspired you to write it?
Um, it was my own journey actually. We went on a youth camp with church, and back then I did not know that I had a passion for writing, but what I did know is I was always seeking for my purpose from a very, very young age. Since I said I found it boring to come together without purpose, without alignment. I really thought to myself like there has to be more to life than just coming together, having fun, going home. So that mentality and also me searching for myself brought me together to that I said I want to take a journey of self-discovery, that I want to know what I am here for, because it's all becoming a bit boring for me.
And what are you here
Yeah.
for?
I am here to encourage young adults, people especially who are in the at the age rates I am now, but also inspire elderly people to discover their journey. A lot of people feel like you have to do it all by yourself. You definitely don't. And in my journey, I gave my life to Christ. Someone else's journey might be totally different, but it all comes together with you finding out why you are here, not wasting your life, and contributing to your society, to your generation. And that is what I am here for.
Why should your age mates listen to you rather than an adult who know more about life?
My unique proposition to me would be the fact that I am living the journey with you at the moment. Um, Adults cannot be, and definitely adults give their advice from what they have experienced, but I am giving the advice from what we are experiencing and how I am seeing it, and how the revelation is, and how
Mhm.
we can do it together. So I am here in the presence, which in the present time with you, and I am your age mate. So I believe when you see an example like that, you believe it's also possible for you. Not that it has already happened, but you are walking the journey with me. You see that it is still happening.
Okay. So you see, life is all about growing and new discoveries, right? And the reason why what
Yeah.
you're saying is interesting, the reason why I find it interesting is this. We grew up in a completely different time in the world, in a different place in the world. I'm a Kumasi boy as well. Okay. Growing up, I knew what the environment, what the challenges that we were facing, and the struggles that we were going through. Now, when I try to advise people today, like your age mates, the pushback I get is, well, in the social media age, this or the world is different. You guys don't understand in the
Yes.
word. But in the at the very, very basic sense of looking at it,
Mhm.
it is still the same. Because when we were growing up, the challenges, the newness, and the changing environment wasn't that different from the changing environment that you live
Thank
in.
you.
So why
Yes.
is it that when we try to, it's like we're advising in different areas, so it's easy to block an adult out. Are you
Mhm.
coming from that perspective that because you're living today with them, you can identify with their problems and their struggles more so than say your parents could?
Mhm.
Is that what you buy?
Def- Definitely not.
Okay.
And that is why I entitled my book,
Mhm.
This Journey is Called Life.
Okay.
So I did not use a name from the present. It's like with the Bible, it's all the experiences that I have written in my book so far. There is no adult that is going to read the book and hasn't had the same experiences. Definitely not.
Mhm.
But it is to teach you that it is a journey. You're going to face these dilemmas over and over again. But until you find yourself, until you stand strong in your shoes, you're going to lose yourself every single time. And if you are reading the book, everybody has experienced it so far. The ones who haven't experienced it yet is the generation coming after me. But even they reading it can learn a lot out of it and it can help them whilst they are growing up. So that is exactly why I titled my book, This Journey is Called Life, saying it's a journey of life. Nobody has not experienced what you are experiencing right now.
Mhm.
Learn to acquire a knowledge from adults, but also learn to walk with your generation and merge all these elements together and let it form you. That is going to help you to become who you should become.
Okay. So to those who say you're 21, what do you know about life to write about? What do you say to them?
um what I can say is just the way of life. I am someone who mentally matured, let me say, from a very, very young age. Of course, some people will see that as a challenge, as an insult, because I'm speaking as a 21-year-old. What have I experienced so far? But I believe that your experiences, they form you, they shape you. And depending on what you can do with it, my craft, one of my crafts is writing. Your craft might be singing. So you're going to pour everything, all your elements out in a song. But God chose it to be me writing a book. So that
Okay.
is how I also came about it. Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever dated before?
Yes, please.
You've dated before.
Yes.
And how did it go? Did it go well or it didn't go too well?
It did not go well.
Okay.
Also, where I was like very, very young. So I bought into the whole idea, and you have a perception of your own, but that is not always what the guy is thinking or somebody else is thinking. So eventually, you are gonna bump, and thank God to me, it happened at a very early stage, so that I learned from it.
Learn from it. Have you ever had your heart broken before?
I believe we all have.
What did you have your heart broken over?
No, but when you're young,
Uh,
I got easily caught up with. It's not really. I don't know how to define it because I haven't dated
infatuation?
in a while. Yes, but I was just upset.
What were you upset about?
I was upset that the whole narrative I had in my mind at a very young age
The
was
whole
not
what?
how the whole narrative
Uh-huh.
I had in mind was not how reality is put together.
Okay.
And especially my generation is different. So, but at that time I did not discover all these things about loving myself, putting myself first. So I literally bought into any idea people would sell me. Yeah.
Why is it important to know? Why is this so important to know about yourself? I mean, you want to
To
know about
me.
other people. And first of all, define knowing yourself. Many people walk around, they think they know themselves, but they don't really know
Mhm.
themselves. Do you know yourself?
Up till today I am still learning, but I
Okay.
have learned a lot about myself. Yes.
Okay. So can you fairly predict your response to imagined situation? For
Yes.
example, have you accurately can you accurately predict
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
how you would handle tragedy, for example? Have you predicted your response to
Yes.
tragedy?
I do have an idea with what I have experienced so far, what I have learned,
Uh,
but you never know what's coming next. But
okay.
I believe if your foundation is firm, you're always gonna act different situationships unlike you did before.
Okay.
As the national regulator of the communications industry in Ghana, the National Communications Authority seeks to ensure an environment that is safe and fair for consumers and service providers. NCA grants licenses and authorizations for operation of communication systems and services, develops guidelines to streamline communication activities, establish and monitor quality of service indicators for operators and service providers. NCA is in 8 regions: Accra, Tamale, Takrady, Kumasi, Ho, Koforidua, Sunyani, and Bolgatanga. Do you have unresolved complaints with the service providers? Contact us on 0800110662, 0307011419 between the hours of 8 o'clock a.m. and 5 o'clock p.m. from Monday to Friday, or visit our website at www.nca.org.gh and follow the procedure for filing a complaint or submitting enquiry. National Communications Authority, communications for development.
Let's go back to the book. If I'm reading, what do you expect readers to get out of it?
I expect them, I hope they find recognition, but also hope to go and discover themselves. Everything you have been sitting on, to really go and seek that value in your life. And even if you're an elderly person, that to realize that it is not too late for you to discover what you were here, what you were created here for, and that anything is possible, anything can happen, but it depends on your state of mind. One thing I've also come to realize is you can do anything you set your mind up to. But if your mind is closed, if you're still inside that box, used to your comfort zones, you're always going to believe that the cycle you see is how life is. But God can take you from one situation to a totally different one, depending on your state of mind.
What's your guiding principle? What do you live by?
I live by faith
In what?
and faith in God
Okay.
and moving forward, like never be convinced that I know everything.
Okay. All right. Your generation is into YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, and there's a million of them. What makes you think they'll pick up and sit down and read a book?
Mhm. The way of your manner of convincing nowadays, almost everything is about marketing, using the right marketing strategies. And definitely up until today, I have had witnesses, testimonies of people who would normally never read a book and picking up a book, and they've read my book over and over again, and
Mm.
they found a sense of purpose out of it, which I thank God for. um Everything is in a sensation of marketing, the way you market yourselves. Because for example, my generation, although we do not read a lot of books, when school says that we should obligate us to read books or to study, you have no choice but to read it, but what you get out of it is what matters. So a lot of people are writers up till this day, but since everything is digitalized, you're going to wonder, why are we still writing books? The point that we are writing books is to take your attention away from what's going on in the world, the social media aspect, and coming to a point where you're in serenity with yourself. That is what I get when I am reading books. That
Mhm.
you shut down from the social media, from everything that's going on for a minute, and you take a time to reflect upon yourself.
Okay, so you have a lot to give to your generation.
Yeah.
Why didn't
Yes.
you just use the best known channels to reach them, like blogs and stuff? You
Mhm.
would have reached more, don't you agree?
Definitely. I would have.
Uh-huh.
But with me, it started off as a book because I am also a slam poet. I'm also a writer. Um, So I am listening to the gift that God has given me, but of course you have to apply it to your generation. That is why there is also an ebook of my book.
Okay.
For people who don't like ordering the hard paper version to read it, but the people who also love reading it online in your spare time, and it can also be read for you. So we definitely did think about that, the digitalized aspect.
So you have the audio version of your book?
Yes, please.
Good. Okay, so now you know yourself. Nana Ajewa Osei knows Nana Ajewa Osei. That's settled. Now, do you know your generation well enough?
Mm. That is what I love about it, because I don't.
Okay.
But the fact that I don't makes me want to learn more.
More. Okay.
Yeah.
So what don't you know? I mean, there's always the funny thing about known knowns and known unknowns.
Yeah.
What do you find curious about your generation?
Well, what I found most curious is there is always a different perspective, because we're all raised different. So with that being, there's always a different perspective. There's always something new to attend to. There are always new things on the market, and that keeps me going. It keeps my interest high as well because it's versatile. It is unpredictable, and it is totally not to be. You cannot write an entire scenery about how the generation is put together, but that is what I love: the challenges, the unpredictability, and the fact that anything can happen at any given time, and you tend to like train yourself, let me say, to be ready for it come what may, and you're always reacting different. The
Okay.
fact that there is versatility, I am in
Okay.
love with it.
Okay. So when you returned to Ghana in 2019, what were your observations and discoveries?
um Honestly, it broke my heart because when I saw the roads, and when I saw the roads, the way some people are still living, and people like, people on the streets, that broke my heart, because sometimes you want to give more, but of
Mhm.
course you don't, one person cannot do everything. So I seeing that did make me wonder, because at the same time you have Kumasi Mall, and at the same time you have the advanced side of that country, let me say. And
Mhm.
at the same time, you have the side where people are still struggling, getting their things right. The road is really bad. So the contradiction of both really had me like, whoa. So what if it all merged into one?
So
Yeah,
sort of an even keel society where
an even,
there's not
yes,
such a lopsided
yes.
set of participants, right? Do you think the gap between the rich and the poor in Ghana is too wide?
It is very wide, yes.
Hmm. How do you know though? It's not the same in Belgium.
It's not the same in Belgium. Because let me say, for example, in Belgium, they have Bon Maison, which is a non-profit organization helping them. But in Ghana, from what I have seen so far, of course, I cannot say everything, is they were still begging on the streets for money, selling bread, maybe even a pencil, selling a pencil to feed your family. And at the same time, you have other people who are riding in the Benz, but of course, maybe they worked for it. You don't know, I don't know their source of income, so I cannot say. But you see the same, I observed people riding in Benz, tossing away money, having a sense of having a certain position, so they are good. But it made me wonder and ask, like, what if there wasn't what if there was an equality? Like, the poor people also have somewhere to go and feed. Because in Belgium, for example, you would find these, not to be offensive, definitely not. You will find the same pencils people are selling on the floor, and like people are not appreciative of what they have. But in Ghana, for example, people are having these very things that people are tossing away over here, and they are making an income with it, feeding their family with it. And in Belgium, all these things are often not appreciated.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and what did you find among the youth
Mm-hmm.
of Belgium and the youth in Ghana? Uh, sort of your age mates,
Yeah.
college educated, socially conscious, and everything. Did you find any differences between the two groups?
Mm-hmm. Definitely from what I have seen so far,
Mhm.
um, in Ghana, it's like the youth is still too bound to traditions, but you are not letting yourself discover your purpose in life. It is whatever you are born in that you are attending to. But God may have a totally different purpose for you. But because of the traditions, the old ways, they will feel like if I step out of my comfort zone, I will be seen as disrespectful. So I have to take a step back. And in Belgium, moreover, it's you can do these things still, no matter what age you are, and the opportunities are laid out there for you. People working out on projects, they don't have to by force notice you, but they will put out the platforms for you to like take the first leap and reach out to them, and that might turn you into you can come from a nobody to reaching something else. So what did break my heart is seeing the fact that so many people, and when I got to Ghana, I did see a lot of talents, people sitting on businesses, but they don't realize it because of the way you're used to, of the way, let me
When
say,
you
the
s-
mentality is set.
when you say they're sitting on businesses, what did you
Yes.
mean by that?
You're sitting on businesses as in, let me say it like this, you're sitting on money. They are talented, crafted, but they do not realize it, or they're gonna think it is absolutely without purpose in Ghana. So I'm not gonna build further on it.
So give me an example of those. Give me an example of
Yeah.
someone you saw sitting on money but didn't realize it.
Yes. A friend I know, I got to know him through social. I'm not going to mention the name, but
Mhm,
he is a music producer, let me say,
mhm.
and he lives in Ghana. But in Ghana, the artists tend to make use of it for free, that they do not pay. But he is like producing their songs in a very very high quality, in a very, because I've also listened to these songs, I helped him edit certain things, it's of very good quality. But often they do not pay him, but he is working till noon to get the best quality out. And if I compared it to Belgium, in Belgium, if you are a music producer, let me say, they are even gonna make sure you are at your highest comfort, because they want you to bring out the best quality for them. And everything will be taken care of just so that you will be at the mental state where you are very, very comfortable to bring out the best quality for them.
So, okay, so now that I'm familiar with what you're describing. There are two
Mhm.
things involved. Either people have the money and they choose not to pay, or they
Yes.
don't have the money to pay. Which
Yeah.
do you think is the case in Ghana?
Um, I can't speak for everybody, but often also it is they have the money, but they see as you haven't discovered yourself fully yet.
So they're
So there will
using you.
also, yeah, they will take advantage of it.
Hmm. And what advice do you have for Ghanaian youth who are sitting on money but don't realize it?
My advice would be, do dare go out of your comfort zone. And like, even if you are not allowed to go outside much, do your research whilst you're in. And acquire knowledge from the people around you, from the things you see around you, but not in the way of, this is how my society is, nothing to do about it, but what if? And let that motivate you to gradually get your business together.
Oh, okay. So when people are that sharp at your age, that philosophical at your age, there's usually one direction they go to: political activity. Do you see that in your future?
Honestly, no. Of course, I do not know where God is leading me,
Mhm.
but from what I have seen of politics so far, I do not want to be a part of it respectfully.
Why?
Um, because it is often a propaganda. It's often propaganda, yes, from what I have seen so far. And even though you may have your true intentions, there will always be other people who were there before you So you have to do things a certain way, and you cannot really deliver on your promises because, you're promising the people that they should vote for you, they should count on you. But are you really are you bringing the deliverables?
So
Yeah.
are you saying that it's impossible to be a straight politician?
From what I have seen so far, with all due respect,
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Okay. So if that is the case, knowing that you've given your life to Christ, meaning you're Christian, Jesus, did he shy away from what's bad, or did he go in to try and right the wrongs? So the question is,
Jesus,
what would Jesus do? WWJD, right?
Jesus went in to right the wrongs.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
So you see politics, with all due respect, as you said, that you don't want to be a part of it. Why wouldn't you want to go in and do your best to clean it up for
It
the people?
is it is a risky game, but I believe your heart also needs to be into it. You need to know what you're busy with.
Okay.
Same thing in the business world. You need to know what you're busy with for
Mhm.
it to be something for you. You may grow up having a very sharp mind. You want to change the world. You want to do this. You want to do that. But you need to put in the work as well. That is where the realistic aspect comes in.
But you don't
So,
have any problem putting in the work because that's all you do. You don't do social life. All you do
yeah,
is work. So you're the perfect candidate for it.
yeah. I don't know. With me, I love being myself. I like being authentic, original, and I don't like being put on and people telling me precisely what to do as if you don't have a will of your own. But of course, people can guide you in it.
Mhm.
So if that reaches my heart, my purposes, and I also know what I am doing, like I can put it out there in a perfect strategy, why not?
People might push you into it. You never know. So the future is in Belgium or is in Ghana?
It's all over the world.
Wow. I didn't expect that. That's good.
It is
Why do you
all
say
over
that?
the world. It is all over the world,
That was
as
your future.
in,
I'm meaning your future. Where do you see yourself spending your life in the
yes,
future?
I
And it's
see
still all over
myself
the world?
working internationally, yes, if God permits.
Okay.
Um, because I don't want to be tied up to because the economy in Belgium is good, but there
Mhm.
are it definitely has its challenges, has its surface and its perspectives, and I don't want to be tied to just one diaspora when I am also part of the African diaspora, and I can make change all around the world. And I believe the fact that I'm also a Ghanaian, uh, even though I was raised up in Belgium, that doesn't fully make me a Belgian. I
Mhm.
am still a Ghanaian. So I do want to explore my grounds. Yes.
Your potential spouse, is he a Ghanaian or is he also international?
Um, I prefer Ghanaian, but he doesn't have to be Ghanaian, but he does have to like the African, understand African roots and how it is settled. Like I do not want to pretend to be someone else in front of him. Yes.
Okay. So that doesn't, is it, he has to be African or he has to be someone who understands African?
Someone who understands African.
Great. Okay. Let's look at Belgium, Brussels. That's where the European Union headquarters is located.
Yes.
Good. That's all of you, not all of Europe, but a whole bunch of countries in Europe came together to form one common market. Africa is looking to do the same with the African Union.
Mhm.
Have you had time to look at the African Union?
Mm, not really as in doing my personal research,
Mhm.
but As in growing up as well, I am more drawn to it. And I believe that's also been through my socializations. Yes.
Because what we do here at Diaspora Network Television
Hmm.
is Pan-Africanism and diaspora issues, which means that people of African descent we consider our family members.
Yes.
Do you see that? Can you look at the Ugandan kid and truly look at him or her as your brother or sister?
Yes, because at the end of the day, it's not because you're not Ghanaian, you're still African. And we are all, although we are all raised with different traditions and different ways, we are all coming from Mother Africa. And I believe when I'm even working with people, because I work with people all over, they're all Africans, but not all Ghanaians. I tend to realize that as long as we can come and work together, we carry that same mentality. We want to head to a certain goal. I don't care where you're coming from. We can do this. Yeah.
If you brought a kid from Malawi to your parents as, Daddy,
Hmm.
that's potentially a future son-in-law, what do you think
Yes.
your parents would say?
Um, from knowing my father, he would first of all see if not just where you're coming from, of course that would matter, but also see what are you bringing to the table? How is your mentality like? Yeah. And do
Okay,
you respect our culture? Those kind of
okay.
things.
Well, very good, very good. So, in the final minutes, where do you see Africa going? Ghana. When you came back in 2019, you say you saw a lot of poverty and everything. What would
Mhm.
you recommend? You're sharp, you think beyond your age and everything. If the president of Ghana was listening to you, or the African Union Commission chair was listening to you right now, what would you like for him to hear? What would you tell him?
Um, that's a big, big blessing. What I would say is, um, let Africa go beyond our traditions, the old mentality, the ways. Of course, we have our morals, but let the youth grow in a professional way and the way education is built, because it is definitely growing. I've also seen that. Um, Let it continue, but Africa can also become a place where people are coming to stay, to be discovering things, and that there should be an equality between the rich and the poor. The poor need a place of sustenance. They need a place to go to, come what may. It is not necessarily about the people we are already seeing doing well. There are so many, and I repeat, so many hidden talents that we do not know about just because people are afraid to come out with their point of perspective. So, what I would say is, um, we are the new generation. As in our church, we also say we are the future leaders of the church. When the adults step off their seats, it is the youth that will come and take over the seat. And when we sit on that seat, it should not be about we have the opportunity, we are free, let's do whatever we want. But let's put out the message further, teach us how teach us how things are done, but explain to us why these things should be done and
Okay.
how we can be a better generation.
So,
That's what I would
in,
say.
in short, if I understand you correctly, let's not put limits on our youth. Is that what you're
Don't
saying?
put limit exactly. Don't put
It
limits on the
seems to
youth.
me that we've come all the way back to the conversation, the beginning of the conversation.
Yes.
Remember the proverb that you gave me?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yes.
And you agreed with it. But it sounds to me that you're advising Africans to limit that mentality that when adults are speaking, don't step in it. Because at the end of the day, that's where the limitations are placed on our youth. And I can tell you that African kids in the diaspora who subscribed to the notion that when adults are talking, don't put your mind to it and everything. You see how that reflects in the classroom where it makes you a little bit more tentative to ask the teacher a question, whereas your other mates will freely ask the question. Do you see that or you don't?
I do. No,
You
I
do.
do.
And that does that constitute limitations to African youth, you think?
It definitely does.
Yeah.
I'm having a change of perspective. Thank you for that. Yes. Okay. I love that.
You see what I'm saying? Because
Mhm,
look,
mhm.
if adults are talking clearly, if adults are sitting and talking about serious stuff that doesn't concern it, fine. But this blanket notion that when adults are talking, don't put your mouth into it, which is how we began our conversation. I think we've gone back and in you describing, giving your advice to leaders, I think you turned around and say, the more you do that, the more you invariably, without intending to do so, put
You'll
limitations
limit
on
them.
the expressiveness of our young people. So when they go to class,
Yeah.
whereas other people are freely discussing them, you find the African kid tend to be a little bit more reserved, a little bit more timid. In Africa, they said, oh, Nehojo, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But somebody who is more expressive, oh, what Shrenoho, right?
Mhm,
You
mhm.
see, do you see how that might impact your potential, you reaching out for your potential? You see that?
It impacts it a lot because but in the African diaspora, let me say, in our diaspora, it is when you're expressing, when you're doing the, and when you're doing that, they say "Otrenoho,"
Mhm,
as in, he or she is being way too much.
mhm,
It does influence you a lot, especially your mental awareness, the way you see yourself, because you're gonna think, am I not allowed to do this? Am I not allowed? All I wanted to do was bring forth this message. And you're doing it with so much passion, with so much love, that some people just can't stand seeing you grow. So it does impact us a lot, but that doesn't mean it should define who you are. Yes.
very good, very good. This has been an interesting episode of Diaspora Weekly. This is a delightful conversation. You're very beautiful and smart at
Thank you
age
so much.
21. Your parents must be very proud of you. And I want you to extend that message to them, that they did an absolutely good job raising you. Okay?
I will. Yes.
Thank you for joining us at Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah, and we were joined today by Nana Ejewa, my mother's name, Osei, an author of the book entitled This Journey is Called Life. Before we go, how do we get your book?
You can order the book on Amazon.
Mhm.
Worldwide shipping is possible. You can also reach me via my social media platforms, but most importantly on Amazon if I am not reachable all over the world. The ebook is available and the hard paper version is also available.
Very good. Thank you. And you have yourself a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining us at Diaspora Weekly.
Yes. Thank you for having me.